Hi, welcome to Wassell Woodworking. On today's episode, we're going to be building a license plate for my daughter's race car they're building in STEM in middle school. And so we're going to be after a piece of wood about 7 by 12 inches wide, similar to a license plate. And she wants the words Battery Factory Freaky Fast written on with some lightning bolts. So I'm going to design that in CAN-BAM, and then I'm going to export it out and run it on the CNC and cut it out at MDF. And MDF should work out really well. I'm going to paint it, prime it, sand it, and then finally put some polyurethane on it. So hopefully this will turn out well. So I started with my daughter's artwork, and this is a design she came up with. So I went into CAN-BAM and I drew it all out. So I'm just going to show you this couple screenshots of what the final design was. And so I'm doing this in 3 different steps. The first one is to cut the groove around the outside that sort of frames it. The second one is to cut all the lettering and the lightning bolts. And the third one is to cut all the way through in the slots for bolts like you'd have on a normal license plate. And so I'll go through this process and I'll export the G-code file, and this is the area it should cut. And I'll take it out to Mach 3 and put it on my CNC and watch it work. The MDF has been attached to my CNC with a 1/4 inch thick piece underneath so the bit won't accidentally cut through when I cut the holes for mounting the license plate. And I'll show a few shots of this, and then we'll quickly go towards the end when it's finishing up the last lightning bolt. It works really well, and so at this point it's almost ready to take out once it cuts these 4 holes that it's doing now, and it's off to paint. So you can see the license I already masked off around the Battery Factory Freaky Fast just first, and so now I'm going to remove all that tape. One thing to remember as I'm taking this off is that the whole thing has already been coated a couple times in shellac, and that's hopefully closing up all the pores and allows the tape to come off without pulling the wood apart, because we're just talking about MDF, which is really just compressed wood fibers. And now I'm masking the lightning bolts and the area around the outside. This just eliminates excess overspray that I have to sand off, and once I get this done, it's off to spray the black paint on. Alright, so now we're ready to paint the lightning bolts and the groove around with black, and in that process I will also paint the sides and back black. So now I'm going to take the plate here, I'm going to take off all the tape and see what it looks like before I sand the face. So this is what it looks like at this point. So now I'm going to sand this all. I'll take the paint off, and then all I have to do is then put some sort of polyurethane on it to seal it, and the license plate will be finished. So I have now finished sanding it off, and I put 1 coat of shellac on it just to seal everything. Now I'm going to spray 1, 2, or 3 coats, probably 3 coats of polyurethane on it, front and back, and that will protect everything. But for now, it's done. Some of the paint has bled a little bit into the wood on the side, not exactly like I wanted it to be, but anyway, I think for this application it'll work out just fine. So the side has been completed, as you can see right here, and I have added on numerous coats of polyurethane, and it just soaks it up. The MDF is not working out like I had hoped. On the back where it was black, it's sealed really well, but and the letters from what I talked about earlier where it was bleeding into the sides, I just don't like the way it looks. So I'm going to take this and I'm just going to toss that. We aren't going to use it. Instead, I'm going to use another material. I'm going to use a sign making material. This is blue. It's a 1/4 inch thick. I think it's called Color Core. It's got a white center and blue on the sides, and so what you do when you cut into it, it exposes the white and it looks good. So I'm going to make the license plate out of that and see how that works out. I can use all my existing tools to cut this. I just got to be careful not to get it too hot because I don't want it to melt. But let's see how that license plate works out. issues here I had is that the overlap I changed and left a few little pieces in there, so I'll just have to take this off with the chisel on both sides. The other thing is this is a upcut bit, so it drags the plastic around it, and it collects on the bit. So I was using that piece of wood that you saw earlier, this, to tap against the blades so that it gets rid of that plastic, because the last thing I wanted to do is melt. But it didn't, because I slowed down the bit and I sped up the inches to like 40 inches per minute. So that looks like it's done pretty well, so I'll take it out and clean it up. So that's it for this project. Here is the final product, and I used all the same type tools to do it, so it didn't really take any more time to design this. It is basically the same thing as the last one, as you can see. But this one will last a lot better. It's plastic, you can get it wet. I think it turned out great. So, that being said, hope you enjoyed seeing how sometimes mistakes occur and you got to change midstream to make it work out. So anyway, hope you like it. If you want to subscribe, click below, click the little bell, and you'll be notified every time I put out a new video, which is about every 2 weeks. Give it a thumbs up, put your comments below, and I'll see you next time on Wassell Woodworking. Thanks for watching.